I talked to Manny on the phone, and he wants to fight one more time.
He wants to fight one more time.
He does because he had speed, and he had power, and it's very very hard to get those two together
at that size.
Just when the final bell seemed to have rung on one of boxing's greatest stories, the man who once made giants look small, who sent legends crumbling with a flurry of fists and footwork that defied logic, Manny Pacquiao was done. After his 2021 loss to Yordenis Ugas, he stepped out of the ring and into politics, leaving fans with memories instead of expectations. But now, in a twist worthy of its own documentary, he's back, at 46, with knees that have weathered 1,000 rounds, and hands still wrapped in destiny. Why return when everyone says it's too late? Why chase a dream most believe has already passed? Because one man believes the fire never left, Freddie Roach, the Hall of Fame trainer and soft-spoken architect behind some of boxing's most electric nights. He's seen Pacquiao's punches land in ways science couldn't explain, and now he's watching them again, with the same calm confidence in his voice. Manny can beat Mario Barrios, not survive him, not go the distance, beat him. And if Freddie Roach says it, history tells us we should listen. This isn't just a comeback story, it's a reckoning. A legend pushing against the weight of time, against logic, and against everything we've come to accept about aging fighters. Freddie Roach is holding the door open for one more war because, in his mind, Manny Pacquiao didn't stop being great, he just took a break. It began with whispers, a few seconds of blurry mitt work leaked online, then a clearer shot. Pacquiao in full gear, shadowboxing at Wildcard Gym. No formal announcement, no press release, just motion, speed, and that unmistakable rhythm. Suddenly, boxing fans who had long moved on were glued to their screens, whispering the same question. Is he coming back? Pacquiao hadn't fought in years. He'd become a senator, a philanthropist, a living statue. Most assumed he'd spend his later years shaking hands, not throwing them. The Ugas loss felt like the final chapter. Not because he looked bad, but because he looked tired. But warriors don't retire because they're tired. They stop when there's nothing left to fight for. Now there's something. Mario Barrios, tall, strong, young, dangerous, a name rising in the welterweight ranks after dominating Ugas, the same Ugas who beat Manny. That's where the story twists. Barrios' win put him on a map he didn't ask for, one Pacquiao and Roach intend to redraw. The media questioned everything. Why would Manny do this at 46? Is it desperation? Ego? But Roach, never one for drama, shut it down with a single line. He's not doing this for money. He's doing this because he knows he can win. That's not blind loyalty. It's 20 years in the trenches. Roach has seen Pacquiao through wars that would have broken others, from Barrera to Marquez to Thurman. He's been there every time the world doubted, and every time Manny proved them wrong. This isn't a midlife crisis. It's unfinished business. And Roach, with that same quiet fire in his voice, is betting it all on the man who built his name. Throwing fists so fast cameras could barely keep up. Barrios may be younger, taller, fresher, but he's about to face something he's never seen before. Not just a fighter, not just a legend, but a storm that doesn't know how to quit. If Manny Pacquiao is the fire, Freddie Roach is the match that lit it. Their story isn't just about trainer and fighter, it's about belief. Roach has Parkinson's. He shakes when he talks, sometimes softly, sometimes not at all. But when he steps into the ring, pads on, everything stills. That's not medicine, that's purpose. Before he was in Manny's corner, Roach was just another fighter with bad hands and worse luck. He fought tough but not smart, and when the lights faded, he stayed in the sport because he had nowhere else to go. That's where Wildcard Gym came from. 4 walls, sweat-soaked mats, and a stubbornness that wouldn't die. Then one day, in walked a shy, wiry kid from the Philippines who barely spoke English. But when he hit the mitts, Roach felt it in his bones. Lightning. He'd seen fighters before, but this was different. Over 2 decades later, Freddie Roach still watches Manny Pacquiao with the same laser focus, and that's why people listen when he talks. Because Freddie doesn't lie. He's told Manny not to fight before, has walked other fighters into retirement when their legs were gone and their reflexes dulled. But not this time. Not with Manny. He's not saying maybe. He's saying can, as in, he can beat Barrios. He's sharp, he's strong, and he's smarter now than he's ever been. That last part is crucial, because Roach isn't counting on Manny to out-youth Barrios. He's counting on him to outthink him. This isn't the same Pacquiao who once brawled with reckless abandon. This is an evolved version. Still fast, still unorthodox, but now calculated. And behind that calculation is Roach, meticulous, ruthless, and honest. When others see a 46-year-old, Roach sees 12 rounds of data, angles, patterns. He sees how Barrios dips his left after the hook, how he retreats in straight lines. Roach doesn't just see a path to victory, he sees a blueprint already in motion. Because for him, this fight isn't just another payday. It's the final movement in a symphony he's been composing for over 20 years. A final crescendo, and he believes it ends with Barrios on the canvas. Make no mistake, Mario Barrios is not a soft target. He's not a setup. He's not some hand-picked stepping stone meant to make a legend look good on his way out. He's the real deal. Young, tall, durable, and dangerous in the clinch. At 5'10", with a 71-inch reach, he's a natural welterweight who walks opponents down with quiet confidence. He beat Yordenis Ugas convincingly, and that alone puts him on the radar as a major threat. But here's the twist. Beating Ugas doesn't mean you're ready for Pacquiao. Especially not a Pacquiao still trained by Freddie Roach. Because Roach doesn't see Barrios as a mountain. He sees him as a maze, and mazes can be solved.
Huge right hand. Jab.
Barrios is disciplined, but not unpredictable. He relies on rhythm. His jab, while solid, comes from the same angle every time, and his body work, though aggressive, is often telegraphed. Roach calls it methodical, which in Freddy speak is code for exploitable. Barrios has the tools, sure, but Roach's eyes are on the gaps. His feet don't catch up to his hands, Roach says. He throws, but he's flat when he resets. Manny thrives on that, and it's true. Watch enough Barrios tape and you'll see it. He's excellent moving forward, but when forced to pivot or fight off the back foot, his timing gets shaky. That's a red flag against a fighter who lives on sharp angles and quick entries like Pacquiao. And there's something else. Barrios has never been in the ring with someone who moves like Manny. Not just fast, but chaotic, controlled, intelligent. Chaos. Most fighters get flustered when they can't find their target. Barrios, he tightens up. He turns
Just
mechanical.
landed. Very close. Very close.
That's the real danger. Barrios is walking into a fight where the rhythm he depends on will be shredded by movement he's never prepared for. Roach knows it, Manny knows it, and if Barrios doesn't adapt mid-fight, something he's never had to do at this level, he won't survive the storm. He'll drown in it. At 46, you don't train harder, you train smarter. That's the gospel Freddie Roach has been preaching in the quiet corners of Wild Card. Gone are the days of sparring 8 rounds with 3 different partners back-to-back. Now, every minute counts, every punch has a purpose, and every session ends not with exhaustion, but with calculation. Manny used to be the gym's chaos engine, blitzing through heavy bags, shadowboxing like his life depended on it, doubling up on road work just to feel tired. But this camp is different. The fire's still there, but it's focused, sharpened, refined. Roach designed this camp with surgical precision, not to chase what Manny was, but to extract what still remains. Roach's mantra this time around is simple. No wasted movement. Every punch thrown in camp is reviewed, every session documented. There are fewer rounds, but more film. Less damage, but more depth. Manny no longer trains to break his body. He trains to preserve it and sharpen only the tools he'll need for 36 minutes in the ring. Even recovery is tactical. Cryotherapy sessions, Nutrition tailored down to the molecule, reflex drills with LED lights instead of just endless sparring. Roach's team now includes a movement coach, someone who studies how Pacquiao steps, rotates, even breathes between exchanges. Because when time isn't on your side, science has to be. People forget, Roach said, that Manny was always a volume puncher, but never reckless. He always had IQ. We're just leaning on that now more than ever. And that's the terrifying part for any opponent who thinks this version of Pacquiao is slower. He might be a step off, but now he's thinking 2 steps ahead. This isn't a faded champ gasping for one last payday. This is a fighter still, sculpting his final masterpiece. Roach isn't rebuilding Manny. He's revealing what never left. If Barrios has nightmares, they won't be of knockouts. They'll be of things he can't see. Punches that appear from below his chin or around his temple. Feet that are never where they were a second ago. A man half his size making the ring feel like a trap. That's what it's like to fight Manny Pacquiao. Freddie Roach has always said it. It's not just speed, it's unpredictable speed. Pacquiao doesn't throw 1-2 combos. He throws 5, 7, even 10, from angles that don't make sense, while moving, while slipping, while smiling. Barrios is orthodox, structured, and built on rhythm. He likes his jab, he likes his distance. But that's exactly the kind of fighter Pacquiao has eaten alive over the years. Ask De La Hoya, ask Cotto, ask Thurman. Tall, strong guys who blinked, and suddenly found themselves on the ropes, with a left hand detonating somewhere near their cheekbone.
And let me tell you, that was just a quick punch. And Manny Pacquiao moved in with his legs and his...
Roach sees the pattern. Barrios backs out straight, and that's death against a southpaw like Manny, he says. And he's right. The worst thing you can do against Pacquiao is retreat in a straight line, because he follows like a shadow and punches while moving forward. Barrios has never faced a southpaw with this kind of engine. He's sparred lefties, fought a few, but none who blur the line between offense and movement like Pacquiao. Roach calls it the slingshot. Manny draws you in, then launches forward, at an angle just off-center enough to be invisible until it's too late. It's not about raw speed anymore. It's about deception. Manny uses feints like grenades, and his feet are weapons. He'll dart in, fire off 3 shots, then step out sideways, leaving Barrios swinging at air and resetting his feet.
And Thurman backing up. Thurman thought he could back up quick enough, but he wasn't quick enough to get it out of the reach of that punch.
Barrios can hit. He can pressure. But when he tries to corner the ghost, he'll find himself reaching, swinging, and missing. Because Manny's greatest weapon has never been his fists. It's been his ability to disappear and reappear where you're most vulnerable. And Roach knows that even now, that part of Pacquiao never aged a day. The calendar says 46, but the tape says otherwise. You can age a body, but you can't age instincts. Not when they're wired into your bones. And if there's one thing Roach keeps repeating like gospel, it's this. Barrios doesn't just have to fight Manny's body. He has to outthink his brain. That's where most people get it wrong. They see Pacquiao's speed, his flurries, his energy, and assume he's chaos. But chaos doesn't win 8 world titles. Strategy does. Intelligence does. And now, more than ever, Roach is unleashing that side of Manny. He's not going in to outslug Barrios. He's going in to outwit him.
3 of the last 4 rounds. Look at the total jabs landed and thrown. Pacquiao 23%.
Roach has spent hours dissecting Barrios' habits. He knows how Barrios reacts under pressure, how he covers up when he clinches, and where he resets after a right hook. That's the blueprint. Pacquiao's ring IQ, honed through wars with some of the greatest fighters of the modern era, is his greatest weapon. Age means nothing if you know how to control the pace, Roach says, and Manny's foot feints alone can steal rounds. He doesn't have to throw 50 punches to win. He just has to make Barrios second guess when he will. And don't underestimate the role of timing. Roach has Manny drilling split-second counters, not just in reaction, but in anticipation. Barrios likes to double up on his jab, especially after circling left, and Roach's team knows it. They're waiting for it. Manny's left straight is practically GPS locked to that opening.